All right, so here we go. Unit 5, Worksheet 13. So we're going to step it up even more here. So first of all, we could just work this on the calculator. So we're going to go, and I've already plugged this one in. So x minus 4 squared equals 9. Look on our graph, and where those two are, where those two cross, that line and that parabola cross, those are our answers. So if I look in my table, it's going to be 1 and 7. So how do we get there by hand? All right, so what we're going to do is we just have to take a look. What do I have to do to get this by itself? First thing I got to do is get rid of these parentheses and get rid of that square. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides. On this side, that's just going to give me the x minus 4 left. But on this side, it's going to give me plus and minus 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. So now we have two different problems to solve here. So we're going to go x minus 4 equals 3 and x minus 4 equals negative 3. So now we can solve these equations. Plus 4 and plus 4, and x is equal to 7. Plus 4 and plus 4, and x is equal to 1. And those were exactly the answers we found, 7 and 1. All right, so let's go on down. Let's try this one, number 3. Let's do the same thing. Let's do it on the calculator first. But then you're going to need to do it by, in writing, by hand, to get credit for this. Squared, oops. Sorry, that should have been x equals 6. Look on our graph, so the answers are there and there. Now watch, in our table, look, it's going to skip 6. So the answer is between 0 and 1, and it skips 6 here, so between 5 and 6. So if you want to do that on the calculator, you have to go second, calculate, intersection is 5, enter, enter, and guess somewhere around 1, and it'll tell me, no, it's 0.55. And then over here, second, calculate, intersection is 5, enter, enter, and somewhere around 5, and it says it's 5.45. Okay, so that's about what the answers are, but let's see how we do it by hand. So we take the square root of both sides. So we have x minus 3 equals, now we don't know what the square root of 6 is, so let me show you how we're going to write this. So if I go square root of 6, I don't know what that is. So I'm just going to leave that alone for the moment. I'm just going to say that it's the plus and minus the square root of 6. And I'm just going to keep solving for x here. So I have plus 3 and plus 3. So the way you normally are going to see this written is x is equal to 3 plus and minus the square root of 6. So we just solve both of those on the calculator. So x is 3 plus the square root of 6. And we get 5.45. Remember that one answer? And then 3 minus the square root of 6. And that's 0.55. So I'm going to go ahead and do my brackets and do 0.55. All right, number 5. All right, just one more step. It just gets a little messier. So square root of both sides. We get 2x plus 3 is equal to plus and minus the square root of 14. I got to get rid of this just like a linear equation, so minus 3 and minus 3. So normally we would write 2x equals, we normally put this one first. I don't know why they do that, but they do. Minus 3 plus and minus the square root of 14. Then we are going to divide both sides by 2. And x equals negative 3 plus and minus the square root of 14 all over 2. Now, in a lot of like STAR test or EOC or SAT, they may leave it like this just to make sure that you could actually find it by hand without the calculator. So, to go that far. But still, to solve it, we're going to do two different problems. We're going to do with the plus. So it's negative 3 plus the square root of 14. Then we have to hit enter before we do divide. Or we have to put parentheses around all of that so that it does all of that, then divides. But we can just hit enter and then divide by 2. And we get x equals 0.37. And now you got to do the same thing but with minus. Negative 3 minus the square root of 14. Remember, we have to hit enter and then divide by 2. So then it's negative 3.37. And that's a bracket. I know you can't see it. There we go. So x is those two answers. And again, we could have done that in the calculator. We could have gone, here, I'll pause it and type it in. Okay, so there it is, typed in. Go to our graph. Doesn't fit, so I'm going to go zoom fit. So there's our two answers, there and there. We know they're decimals, so the table isn't going to help us. So we go second, calculate, intersection is 5, enter, enter. And then there's 1 somewhere around 1, so we'll go 1. And it says it's 0.37, 0.37. Second, calculate, intersection is 5, enter, enter. Guess there's a negative, I don't know, 5 or so it looks like. And it says no, it's negative 3.37, which is exactly what we got. All right, I'll leave number 6 for you.